What's up, y'all? It's your boy eBay Fight Predictions in the building, and I'll be breaking down Francis Ngannou versus Ciryl Gane, one of the best fights of the fucking year. I love this fight. This is the epitome of a high-level heavyweight MMA. It doesn't get better than this, man. I would have wished we would have got it like later. I wish we would have seen more like title defenses by Francis before we got here, but I mean Ciryl Gane. He's gone through the division, so it's kind of like you couldn't stop him. And in the Derek Lewis situation, we'll talk more about that. But man, this fight's fucking phenomenal. I love the fight. I did a I would say a mini film study. Went like 4 fights. I saw 5 fights for Francis, but 4 fights for Ciryl. The important fights for Ciryl. I didn't think I needed to see Ciryl fight Tanner Boser, to be honest. But just my opinion. I saw the fights where he fought ranked opponents, like his last 4. Francis, I really saw Francis' last 4, but the 5th fight I saw was the first original Stipe fight. But man, this fight is it's so deep, man. It really is. Like, it doesn't, like, the storyline between Ngannou versus Gane is just insane. How deep the roots are, man. It's crazy to me. Francis, first guy in MMA Factory, right? One of the first real big signings, when you really think about it, has come out of MMA Factory. And when I talk about this fight, and the reason, here's my opinion. The reason why I bring up the Stipe fight is because I watched the countdown, and I felt like the countdown didn't really tell you the storyline of how Francis and Fernand Lopez started beefing. And I feel like it all really started. He said it himself, but it all really started in the first Stipe fight. And this, in my humble opinion, it's Francis Ngannou finally closing that chapter to that first Stipe fight, ending all the noise, all of it. It ends next Saturday, whenever the fucking fight happens, right? And it stops, right? I think Francis can finally put all of that behind him, because this is where it all started. For this feud with Fernand all started with the first Stipe fight. And here's what I'm going to say. Fernand Lopez has never lied. Right? That's crazy. I'm the Ngannou fan, but I'm saying he's never lied. Not one thing that came out his mouth has been a lie. That's why he's won every single fight with Ciryl Gane, in my humble opinion, because he's told the truth. And every point he made, Francis made excuses. He didn't take full ownership of the Stipe fight. That's true. Francis was in over his head. That's true. He wasn't humble. He had a big ego. That's true. But the thing is about all of this that Fernand Lopez needs to understand, and it's something that's going to bite him in the ass, in my humble opinion, is that it all was in the past. And that's what makes this fight so beautiful, in my humble opinion, is that we're going to see which side wins. Because honestly, when you really think about it, Fernand can be right and Francis is still a dick, but he wins the fight. But in my humble opinion, I really truly believe whoever wins this fight wins the argument. Who was right, who was the better human being, all that stuff, like, karma, right? But here's my opinion. I think Francis used to be like that. I don't think he's like that anymore. And that's just how I personally feel. And that's where this stems from. And the sad thing about Fernand, even though he brings up a lot of great points that, he never gave me credit. And that's true. In my humble opinion, I think Francis is wrong for that. But you can see Francis learned from that, because he always pumps up Dewey Cooper. He always pumps up Eric Nixon. Always pumps these guys up, from Extreme Couture, and obviously Dewey Cooper's little gym in Vegas. Not little, but gym in Vegas. But I think with Fernand, you have to understand, it's crazy, because I really do feel Fernand's pain. Because when you're from, this guy, they're both from the same place, Cameroon, right? You're both from there. And I remember Fernand Lopez had said this in an interview when, Francis did the MMA awards, and he talked about, getting the knockout of the year, right? And Fernan, and he's right. Every MMA fighter gives they do respect to their coach. And Francis didn't give it to him. A guy like Fernan gave him an opportunity when he was homeless. Gave him free membership at the gym, right? Gave him everything he needed. And gave him probably a great game plan to fight Stipe the first time, but he overlooked it. But where Fernan made the mistake was making this about hate, man. And the thing is, Fernan, you're not going to get punished. It's your star pupil and Ciryl Gane that will face the punishment. And that's where the story kind of stems and where it kind of ends, man. It's a tale from the start of time, man. Teammates going at it, brothers going at it. Obviously the sparring, right? The sparring footage is out there. I thought Ciryl did have his way with Francis, but it's sparring. Sparring is in a fight, and that's just something people got to realize. And I truly believe there is a sparring curse. You saw with TJ Dillashaw versus Cody Garbrandt, and in my humble opinion, TJ Dillashaw versus Corey Sandhagen, because they were talking about sparring too. Even like Rashad Evans versus John Jones, because he was saying he used to whip John in sparring. I'm trying to think of other ones. Even kind of Gilbert Burns versus Usman a little bit. But at the end of the day, I did see it, and I'll post a little bit of the footage out here. He did have his way. He landed great jabs. He was able to outwork him. But again, this is a story from from the test of time, man. Brothers going at it, and I know they say they're not really like brothers, and I kind of get that, but when you're a teammate, you're a teammate, and yeah, Francis didn't really get to know him, but Francis, one thing that's funny is that Francis said, yeah, we sparred, but I sparred you like my little brother. When you see the real me, you'll know, and that's where this fight comes down to, is that which one of their styles, will conflict with the other, and we'll see, because at the end of the day, Francis is right. You don't know the real me. And at the same time, Francis doesn't know the real Ciryl. So, these guys aren't trying to hurt each other. They're trying to work. I know Francis has actually made some statements that he knocked down Ciryl and this and that, but again, that's sparring and it doesn't matter. And they were teammates, and it really is the funny thing about this fight too, that also is a part of the storyline, is that Ciryl is damn near avenging Fernan Lopez. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy to me, because if Ciryl wins this fight, Fernan Lopez would have basically destroyed what he started, right? He started Francis. That's insane. Like, isn't that crazy? And if Francis beat Ciryl, he would have basically destroyed something that brought him up, like a former master, like you get too good, you got to fight the teacher. But it's crazy to me, and it's just funny when you hear Francis talk about Ciryl a year ago. Francis never thought Ciryl would make it here. Francis, I think, never thought this would ever catch up to him. And that's what's crazy, because Francis did an actual podcast a while back. I'll give you guys a link to it, or give the little picture, where he talks to this, I forgot the female's name, but she asked him, how do you feel about Ciryl Gane? And he was like, he's okay. And because she was saying, would you ever fight him? He was like, I don't think he's ever gonna, like, he's not ranked yet. He has to get ranked. But the fact that Ciryl has made it this far, it does show you maybe this is karma for Francis. Maybe the ghost of what Francis did in MMA Factories finally got back to him. So you never know. There's a lot of aspects where you can turn this. Maybe this is Francis finally showing his improvement, and that's where I'm on the side of Francis, where I think he's showing his improvement and kind of really destroying those old skeletons, and destroying all doubt about him and who he really is. And who he really is the champion. He's not the same guy that fought Stipe that first time. But yeah, man, let's talk about the fucking stats, man. Francis Ngannou, the champion of the fucking world. 16-3, is fighting at a Vegas, age 35, a height of 6'4", and a reach of 83. Ciryl Gane, 10-0, fighting out of France, age 31, and a height of 6'4", and a reach of 83. So they have the exact same reach. I thought Francis had a reach advantage going into this? I think he does. I'm actually gonna double check because sometimes Tapology gets this wrong. I never forget they actually got Kevin Lee's reach wrong on here, and I had to correct them on Twitter, and they changed it. So, and that's true story. I swear to God. I think I'll show you guys the tweets, but reach. Let's see what they say. Oh, it is really 83, huh? It's 83 something. That's crazy. So they do have the same reach. I thought he had a reach advantage. Okay, so this changes up a little bit. But it also, it still, I think it still doesn't matter. It doesn't affect the way I feel about the fight still. But I did think he had a reach advantage. I will admit that. So they have the same exact reach. But what makes this fight so interesting to me personally is, and also, Ciryl Gane, the #1 contender, the interim champion. But what makes this fight so interesting to me is how they match up stylistically. Like, that's what's crazy. You have a marauding KO artist versus a fucking tactician, like a fucking technical wizard. So in the striking department, so it's really interesting to see how they match up. But yeah, I mean, Cyryl's the younger guy. He is a lot. I mean, thinner, I guess, than he weighs less than Francis, and but here's the thing: the things that kill it for Ciryl is that Cyryl's had a reach advantage over most of his opponents. He's gonna be dealing with the same guy with the same reach as him, so he can't really rely on having that reach advantage. That's something that Francis is gonna utilize. He's gonna use steady pressure. And it won't be a reach battle at this point. He won't deal with any disadvantage. So that's something that Cyryl's gonna have to deal with in terms of adversity. And Francis, I mean, he is 35, so he's old. Well, he's not old, but he is older. And I mean, it's different for heavyweights because they can go a lot longer. They don't have that when they're 35 they're near the end of their prime kind of thing. It might be the start of his prime, But he is older. He is older than Ciryl. So Ciryl is the younger guy, and he might be hungrier than him. You never know. Maybe Francis lost some motivation. But let's talk about Francis Ngannou and the fight breakdown. I had to rewatch the first Stipe fight. I know my boy Ed is like, yeah, let's go. Let's talk about that one. I'm gonna make Ed happy right here. I'm gonna praise Stipe, man. I'll give it to that punk-ass firefighter. That was the greatest moment of his life. I doubted Stipe like crazy that day. I'll never forget that. I really thought, I'm being honest with you, I really thought Francis was going to smoke him. And, it was that there's levels to this moment, and it ain't your fucking time. And Stipe taught that to Francis, that you got to wait your turn, brother. You gotta wait your fucking turn. I'm still the champ, homie. I'm still the champ. And the way Stipe fought him that first fight, dude, he brought the fire to him. That's what people don't realize. Stipe didn't. Y'all, you already know this thing be tripping, but like I was saying, Stipe didn't just fucking run and take him down and just dive for legs. No, he stood in there in the pocket, took his best shots, and took him down. He just put that constant pressure on him. Francis, obviously, he got challenged in a lot of areas, the pressure. He never had anyone pressure him like that. Also, he never had anyone really not be scared of him, in my humble opinion. I'm not gonna say I don't think Alistair or Orlovsky were scared of him, but there were some guys, man, that just did not want to be in there with him. Like, you could tell. Like, some of those earlier guys in his career, like I'm being honest, some of these dudes just wanted to get knocked out. But with Stipe, man, he brought the fight to Francis, and he brought it for a long time. That was a grueling 25 minutes. That was a beatdown of a century. Like, yes, Stipe looked like the worst dude, but man, he really beat up Francis. Like, beat him up. Like, that's like, I know Francis was hurt that day. He really thought he was gonna knock this man out. He thought it was gonna be easy work, and he underestimated his opponent, and his opponent made him pay for that. The takedowns, they were sloppy as hell. One of them was good though. I'll give Stipe that. One of them was good, but it was the fact that he level changed and he gave that look to Francis. And Francis, we saw with Giga Chikadze, when you take somebody down and you change the whole entire dynamic of the fight, and then you make them think about the takedown, it completely changes who the fighter is. You can really see it's nuts to me. It's mind blowing, like how an elite level kickboxer can get outstriked like that after one takedown and a few other takedown attempts. Same thing here. Now, obviously, Stipe wrestled a lot more than Kattar, but when you look at the striking exchanges after those takedowns, I mean, Francis had nothing in his arms no more. Even though he was hurting Stipe, like the power wasn't there. And that's something that Cyryl's going to have to look at. In my humble opinion, Francis has improved, but like I say every time, you can always bring a man back to his worst moment. It's not impossible. It's possible. It's just you got to do it the right way. If Ciryl can strategize the right game plan to take Francis down, to get him tired, to use his punches, he's gonna have to go in the fire a little bit, and that's something I don't know if he can do. But this fight, you still have to look at it. It's not something that you dismiss because, he stopped a few takedowns from Stipe in the second time. It's like the same thing with Jan Blachowicz, right? Jan Blachowicz, Luke Rockhold and Jacare Souza are phenomenal grapplers. Just because you beat two great grapplers, right, that were middleweights, right, doesn't mean you have great takedown defense. Just because you were able to take down Adesanya doesn't mean you have great takedown defense. Doesn't mean that. There's levels to this, and that's what it really comes down to. There is levels to this, and I would say Ciryl might be a more athletic wrestler than Stipe. I think Stipe's wrestling it never was great. Like, he's a good, don't get it, college D1 athlete, don't get it twisted. He's a good wrestler in college. But in MMA, it never was really, he was more of a boxer in there, you know what I'm saying? And it was like he was a boxer that knew how to wrestle, had to bring that old tool out of the box and had to do it. But if Ciryl can, use those athletic takedowns that he does have in his repertoire, he might be able to win this fight. But yeah, man, it was crazy, man. The fight was nuts. And one of the craziest moments from that fight is when Stipe has him against the cage. And I'm telling you, this was his moment, man. He was, as much as I might make fun of Ed for liking this dude, he was the GOAT that day. You could never take it away from that firefighter. That was his day. UFC, I think it was UFC something, right? UFC, I forget what it was. 222, I think. UFC 222, am I right? I think it was before that. I think it might have been 220. Yeah, UFC 220. That's what it was. But that was his night, and you could see his coaches. He went to his coach's corner. Everyone was going fucking crazy. He's like, I fucking did it! Who's gonna take this belt off me? And he proved the masses wrong. He proved me wrong. He had me fucking stunned. But yeah, that was short lived. That's over. That's a long time ago. But yeah, man, Francis had to learn through this fight the hard way. He ended up having that Derek Lewis fight. That one, it wasn't much of a fight, but he lost that one, so he was on the two fight losing skid. Fights Curtis Blades, but he already beat him. But I feel like what really let people know Francis was back was when he and the stoppage against the Curtis Blades one. It was kind of like people didn't like the stoppage there. I don't have a problem with it, but that's how some people feel. It felt like it was stopped a little too early. But when Francis Ngannou fought Cain Velasquez, and Cain's, I fuck with Cain, AKA that's my guy. He went out there and murked him, man. Long layoff, and I know Cain has some excuses going in there. And to be fair, Cain doesn't really bring up any excuses. AKA boys do that, but he murked him. Cain went for the takedown. He defended it well, and he just touched him. Honestly, I don't even think he caught him with any kind of real technical uppercut or anything. He just touched him. He touched him, and Cain fell, and his knee buckled. But he got hurt before his knee buckled. I'm just being honest. And Francis just murked him. He murked him. Then Francis fights Junior Dos Santos. that fight was interesting. There's some takeaways for Ciryl, man. Junior landed some good leg kicks. And he landed some okay punches too. I remember he actually landed a decent hook. And Junior is kind of using a bouncy movement, but Francis just coming after him, guns a-blazing. I mean, it's really hard to kind of deal with that sometimes, And Junior fell. He fell and he went out sad. Two guys that participated in probably the greatest heavyweight trilogy of all time got flatlined like that in less than or maybe a combined minute. It might be a combined minute. I don't even think it was that long, how long it took him to beat both Kane and Junior. And he demolished those guys. Then he fights Jairzinho Rosenstrike, right? Like, oh my God, this dude, like, and at this time, Francis is just getting screwed, by the way, for not getting a fucking title shot because he's in this goddamn DC Stipe trilogy era. That was fucked up. I'll never forget that. That was so fucked. Francis was getting screwed. So he had to fight Jairzinho, who was coming up after the Alistair Overeem victory. Great kickboxer. I mean, I would never compare him to Ciryl because we saw what Ciryl did to Jairzinho. But phenomenal fighter in terms of the kickboxing world, and had a lot of hype. And he demolished him. And it was so untechnical. Everyone was like, oh, this guy never improved. And that's one thing I say, people, you don't want to make that mistake. Sometimes it's better to judge someone off of their training than their fights. I'm being honest. And you have to stick with, for me, what really sold it for me that Francis was going to beat Stipe that second time, because a lot of people base that Jairzinho fight, oh, he hasn't changed, he's still the same. How do you know? You have no evidence. You got to look at the training sometimes, because quick knockouts can't really tell you anything. But if you can look a little deeper and if you can do your homework a little more, and what really sold it for me that Francis was going to beat this man in a rematch was when I saw his training. And I saw he vlogged it on his YouTube channel. It was really dope. I saw the improvements, I saw the guys he was working with, Ankalaev and I forgot the guy's name. Bligo Ivanov, right? Former AKA guy. Now he's in Vegas. Worked with him with his wrestling and stuff like that. Roman Dolidze, these good wrestlers and good MMA fighters working with him, and just seeing how he was able to kind of switch it up on them, and then bringing Kumar Usman, a good wrestler, into his camp. I think it changed the whole entire game for him. And a lot of people judged him off the Jairzinho fight, and they suffered for it. They suffered for it dearly, because Francis, it's the greatest. As much as I might hate on Stipe, him and Francis probably have one of the best 2-fight series. If they have a third one, it's probably going to end up bad for Stipe, but they have a really good 2-fight series, because it's a great story, because Stipe wins the first one, humbles the young buck, lets him know, hey, it's still my fucking time. You got to wait your turn. And in the second fight, it was Francis's turn, and that's what this fight was really about. And the way Francis used his jab in that fight, his straight shots, I loved how Francis, he would throw the jab to the body and then throw it to the head, or even feint at it. I mean, you could just tell there were just so many major improvements that Francis made going into that Stipe fight. There's just certain guys, he just was like, man, I'm getting you out of here. With Stipe, he knew this guy was serious, and he knew I had to take him seriously. And he took Stipe so serious. You could just tell, that guy was, it was almost like the Juliana Pena thing, right? That he probably replayed every sparring situation that happened in that first fight so it doesn't happen again. It was just almost like he didn't want that second fight to happen again, or no, didn't want that first fight to repeat itself, right? And it's just nuts, man. You could just tell. It was like Dewey Cooper, Eric Nixon, and even Stipe's corner, they were just going at it, yelling. It was real turmoil, and this was which side would prevail. Our side's going to be right. And I'll never forget that countdown, too. That was phenomenal. But also, I mean, Francis landed a beautiful 1-1-2 in there. I mean, Francis was just completely improved. And, Stipe and obviously we saw the weight and then the reach. Francis used his reach appropriately against Stipe, and Stipe was trying to fight this kind of style, backing up and using footwork to win the fight, and trying to like counter or something like that, and just and use some wrestling, and it just wasn't gonna work because being on the back foot against somebody who's pressuring you with a longer reach, it's really hard. It's probably one of the harder things to deal with, and Stipe, he dealt with it, man. He dealt with it bad. Yeah, you know, I know Ed's gonna probably cry, but Francis styled on him, man. This was bad for Stipe. Stipe didn't land shit. Like, that's what's great. He landed one thing in the second round. I'll show you guys that, but he didn't land nothing in here when I think about it. Like, it was nuts. Like, he really got like styled on. Like, I enjoyed it thoroughly from my boy. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I just want you to know that. But I mean, the kick that Francis landed, like, how you letting this dude land high kicks on you, Stipe? Like, go on, bro. It's nuts. And then obviously the moment of the whole entire fight, everyone says it. This is when I knew Francis was gonna win. Is right when Stipe goes for that single leg and Francis sprawls. And then I don't care what Francis took him down. Obviously, you know, and it was a mat return in wrestling, so he wouldn't get 2 points. But in our hearts, that was a takedown. He took him down. He took him down and then tried to take him down again. That was crazy. It wasn't smart. I didn't want Francis to do that at the time. I was like, no, don't do that. Stand up. Knock his ass out. And then the second round happened. And he, again, the jab. He knocked him down with a jab. It was a 1-1-2. No, it was a 1-2-1. Right? He threw the jab, he threw the cross, and then threw the power jab, right? And got him, and he knocked him down, and it was beautiful. And that was where things were getting dicey for Stipe. And Stipe landed a really good pullback counter and then got clipped with a check hook. And then the hammer that landed on him after he broke his fucking knee. He was like, I like that. I'm sorry if I'm laughing at him. Broke his motherfucking knee and then had a hammer land on his fucking jaw. That was nuts and super satisfying. I knew Ed was, he had some tears. Ed was like crying. He is crying. Probably 5 a.m. in the morning just crying. Mama was like, what's wrong, Ed? Young Ed, what's wrong? Ed was like, I'm going to sleep. But I know I'm fucking with Ed so hard on this video. But yeah, man. And that's where Francis, he proved his worth, man. And man, that just, it was one of a kind, man. It really was one of a kind. But and yeah, man. Even like when Francis and you know, fucking Stipe, they kind of like before they fought, actually, and right when they're about to fight, and they just stood face to face, you just could tell it was different. It was a different energy there, like unlike the first fight, right? It was just different. But yeah, he got the belt, man, and it really was a fantastic storyline, and everyone loved Francis. But then he didn't fight. Ever since then, he didn't fight, and he hasn't fought since January. And I truly believe that people must have forgot. They really forgot who this man was, who the Predator really is. And Bon Gami, right, or whatever the fuck his name, Ciryl Gane, came out the woodworks, and I guess he wowed everyone. And I mean, it all really started with Junior Dos Santos, man. He murked Junior. That one was crazy. I mean, the body kicks, the leg kicks. I mean, he made Junior look like a one-dimensional boxer in there that couldn't do anything. Junior was even trying to take him down. I never forget, his coaches said, maybe you got to go for a level change. But it was nuts, man. He was outworking Junior. He was on a different speed level than Junior. But Junior could keep up, though. If you notice with a lot of these guys, I feel like speed-wise, to be fair to Junior, he actually could keep up a little bit with Ciryl. I really do believe that. He could kind of keep up. And he landed some shots. He really did. He landed some shots. But I thought he actually kept up pretty well with Ciryl. But then, you know, he got hurt with a jab in the second round. You could just tell. I mean, Junior just can't take damage anymore. And then that's just basically, Kane took his soul. He took his soul. That's one thing that Kane always took. When I feel like Junior, he still has his skills, and he can still compete with some of the best guys in the heavyweight division. He hasn't lost to, losing to Ciryl and Jairzinho. Jairzinho's not a bad fighter to lose to, and I guess the Curtis, the way he, I don't want to diss Curtis. Curtis is a good fighter, but the way he lost to Curtis wasn't good. But those top 5 guys, man. He lost to top 5 guys. And I guess Jorginho's not top 5 anymore, but still, he decent guys, right? And Ciryl just dispatched him like he was nobody and caught him with that elbow. And I know Junior complains about back of the head, but Junior, man, like, come on, brother, come on. Look, you're one of my favorites. You're one of my people get it twisted. I actually like Junior more than Kane. I like, a lot of people don't know that I like Junior more than Kane. I was rooting for Junior in that trilogy, which is crazy. I was like, come on, Junior. Because I told everyone, like, I think Junior, because I lightweight was a Brock fan. This was before I was really into AK. I was lightweight a Brock fan, right? And then when Kane destroyed Brock, I was like, damn, fuck this dude. And then when Junior fought Kane, and I remember it was on Fox, and I think it was the first Fox one. And the way Junior knocked Kane out, bro, I was like, I called it, y'all. He's winning forever. but I also I respect Kane. Kane's a good dude. He's still better than Stipe in the heavyweight GOAT conversation. Just saying. But then he fought Jairzinho Rosenstrike, Ciryl Gane, and I know it was a boring fight, but man, did he light him up. Jairzinho was a cold statue in there. Even Ciryl was able to take him down, something that I say, man, obviously Jairzinho has no takedown defense, but still, the fact he was able to take him down, that shows good things going into the Francis matchup, and that he could use that skill set. But man, god damn, that guy's fucking jab is fast, bro. It is fast, and his leg kicks, and his body kicks, and his oblique kicks. Everything he used in there was just fast, bro. It was fast as fuck. It's crazy to me how good he was in there. And he made Jairzinho look little, look small, look just like a nobody. Like, it's just he was on another level technically. That's what's crazy. This guy's Muay Thai, man. He doesn't like, the thing is like, he's not really that experienced in any individual sport he did in terms of combat sports. He's just athletic as fuck. That's what I really think it is. And he's just been able to mix his athleticism with his technique, and that's just a crazy combo. Like, you never really see shit like that. You don't really see technical guys that athletic. And he's like, oh my god. I guess one thing he doesn't have is power, but like, man, everything else he got it, man. He fucking got it. Then he fights Alexander Volkov, and I felt like Volkov, he took 2 rounds. I thought Volkov had moments in this fight, but even this one, he really lit Volkov up with the boxing. Volkov was keeping up with him with the leg kicks, but the boxing was on his side. Again, the jab was nuts, man. He was on Volkov, and dude, that flying knee he tried to land on Volkov was crazy. I was like, yo, this dude's nuts. And he did go for a takedown. Volkov did stuff it, but Volkov had his moments, man. He landed a 2-3. He was landing punches in there, something that Francis got to look. And it's like, even though Volkov had a reach disadvantage against Gane, he still was able to land punches, right? Like, you would assume Volkov, the taller guy, would have the longer arms, but he didn't. Gane had that advantage. But Gane can get punched. It's not like his ultimate defense. It's just that his jab and his footwork really fucks with guys. It's like they almost get in like a staring contest, and they don't know what to do with him. It's like he touches. He doesn't really hurt them most of the time. He touches, and you don't know how to deal. Like, they can't figure out his rhythm. That's really what it is. And it's like, goddamn, after the first round, he figures you out. Not even the first round, really. It looks like the first fucking minute. And he's like, oh, that's what you're going to do? I can just do this for 5 rounds. Like, it's crazy to me. I was like, it's really nuts that they really can't impose their will on him. That's what you really notice at a lot of these fights, is that these guys can't impose their will on Ciryl. It's nuts. But I think Francis is going to do that. I'm just saying. And then he fought Derek Lewis, and oh my fucking god. Oh my fucking god. He got me. And I've been fading fucking Ciryl since the Volkov fight. I mean, I picked Volkov and I picked Derek, and man, did he make me look like a fool. Oh my god. Oh my god. What he did to Derek, man. The face-off before the fight was nuts, man. You could just see it, like the tension, and I thought Derek undefeated in Houston, everything. But I think the pressure got to Derek one. That's my humble opinion. And Cyryl's jab, his leg, the leg kicks were debilitating, bro. It was debilitating. It was so sad to see Derek try to bounce. Like, it was so sad. If you know what I'm like, Derek was like, okay, I'm gonna bounce with you, man. Like, Derek just wanted to land and get out of there. And he just wanted to knock him out and leave that arena as the man. And that's what really broke my heart, is that we never saw Derek versus Francis 2. Even though I know the first fight was boring, and sometimes I guess the MMA guys are just saying it's never gonna happen. But Ciryl literally, I'll never forget a line by Justin Gaethje. Actually, it's actually a really good line. He was talking about, like, Tony Ferguson versus Khabib was a fight that the MMA fans really wanted. It was something that everyone wanted, and I fucking stopped that. And that's basically what Ciryl did. He went out there and said, "Oh, you guys want to watch him versus Derek? No, I'm gonna stop that shit." He went in there in his hometown and whooped on Derek in front of his homeboys, and I was like, "Fuck." The last sequence was it was hard to watch, man. The clinch work, everything that Ciryl was just throwing at Derek, it looked like Derek was fighting an uphill battle. It was a really bad snowball effect. It was like just things were getting worse, and just Derek couldn't stop the momentum in it. I mean, I know a lot of people say he quit, and I don't like saying that shit. You know, I might not even like Tony Ferguson as much as some other people that will not be named, Fuego. But I'll never say he quit against Justin. I think that's a little mean, right? And I'm not gonna say Derek quit against Ciryl. It's a little mean, but he went out sad. That's all I'll say. And it was hard for me to watch Derek go out. Like, I really felt bad for Derek. I like Derek a lot, man. Derek's a good dude, man. And Ciryl just. It was Cyryl's night, man. The last sequence was nuts. You know, Derek basically in the fetal position, just getting pounded out in his hometown, and just Ciryl just walking away. And I'll never forget, Ciryl tweeted saying something, "He's okay." I was like, man, fuck, that's killer. And I remember he came out to, I forgot, like some Mike Jones song. It was a Houston song, man. Mike Jones. Fuck. I fuck with Mike Jones too. But he came out to that song, and dude, man, he felt that was his night. That was his day. No pressure on him. And now we're here. We're here. The ultimate fight. You know, former training partners. The former coach of Fernand Lopez, his former students going at it, fighting for the heavyweight title, man. This makes Fernand look amazing, by the way. And we're here, interim champion versus fucking the real world heavyweight champion. And I mean, the fight can go either way. I truly believe, I think Francis has some advantages here, because I don't think Francis is gonna go out like Derek. And you know, one thing that Derek did, and actually I'll talk about that later. But here's my thing. We saw Volkov touch, you know, Ciryl. I feel like guys with longer arms are gonna have a lot more success with Ciryl, and this is where it comes down for me. Derek, he had T-Rex arms. Derek has long arms, but he had T-Rex arms compared to Ciryl, right? And when I truly believe, if Francis can touch him one time, like Volkov touched Ciryl, it's fucking over. I think Francis has improved his takedown defense. The only area where I think Francis is really weak is not only the footwork, but the leg kicks. And I don't know if Cyryl's jab will be as effective on Francis like it has been against other opponents, but I don't think so. I think it's really the leg kicks, the high kicks, the oblique kicks, the teeps up the middle that's going to give Francis some problems. I don't think Ciryl, even though Cyryl's a really athletic dude and he's actually a pretty good submission artist, she has more submissions I think than KOs. I don't think he's going to submit Francis or take him down. I really don't. Even though he can do it, I don't think he's going to do it. And I think Francis, with the longer arms, putting accurate pressure and imposing his will on Ciryl and just touching Ciryl once, if he lands a power jab, I think we could see a repeat of what Usman did to Burns. I think the jab will be really, really important for Francis in the matchup. But I know I talk a lot about Francis, but for Ciryl, I think what Ciryl should do, again, he's the faster guy. I think that is true. But when you're dealing with someone long, you got to almost kind of punch with them, right? Because they're long. They are long. And sometimes speed, it's kind of hard to deal with a longer guy with speed. I think the jab to the body will be great for him. But I think level changing, not even if you get the takedown, the clinch work. I mean, I think Ciryl has really good clinch work. And we've never really seen somebody really, besides like a Stipe, clinch Francis. And the way he lands knees up the clinch, elbows, I think that's going to be real work. And if you can't take him down, if you can keep Francis in the clinch and get, like, I think over-unders or double unders, I think he could really win the fight there. I mean, honestly, the knees up to the body, I think he can really have success there. And another thing that Cyryl's really good, and he's really quick, Derek is a power puncher, right? And the way he dealt with Derek as a power puncher, and I think he hits as hard as Francis, but he's just different because he's like built a little different. He's a little stockier. He's a little, again, T-Rex arms. But the way that Ciryl was able to get out the way of that, it's a good look for him, because if Francis swings, he's not going to hurt. I truly believe he cannot afford to swing. And I'm not saying he has to be technical. He has to almost do an in-between thing of almost being kind of, I know this is kind of crazy, almost a little chaotic and technical, because he can't afford just swinging like an idiot, right? He can't do that. Ciryl will see that a mile away, but he's going to have to find his moments where he explodes, but he's going to have to keep putting pressure. I think Francis has to walk forward. He cannot, he's going to have to take some shots from Ciryl and just let him know nothing hurts me, and he's going to have to walk through Ciryl and use his, they have the same reach, but use that length from his arms and just touch Ciryl. That's what it comes down to. But for Ciryl, if he can have Francis swinging, that's easy double legs, easy single legs, easy body locks. Anything he wants, he can get it. Real talk. He gets it. If he doesn't do that, though, I mean, he's screwed. But the jab he has a faster jab. He has faster hands, I would say that, and he has faster kicks. So I think he could play with that, but I think it's and still, y'all. As much as I can see Ciryl winning, and I know a lot of people are really confident in Ciryl, and I think he is the slight favorite. Even it's damn near like pick 'em odds, but you know where they're leaning, right? I think a lot of people are gonna have to be told that, hey, this is your champion and this is your interim champion, and I think Francis is gonna let Ciryl know what's up. And ultimately, like I said, Fernand Lopez did a lot of talking, and he told the truth. Whatever he said was the truth, but it was an old truth. And Francis will show him that improvement and development as a human being, people change. And I think that's going to be the one that hurts Fernand. And it's going to bite him in the fucking ass, because you talked all that, and if Ciryl ends up face down, ass up, he's the one that had to suffer. And the thing about Francis is he's not gonna punish him with harsh words. He's going to beat him with kindness. I bet you he's going to go up to Fernand and shake his hand, and that's what's going to kill Fernand. And every goddamn Francis hater is going to get hurt from that, because you can't hate on a guy that's being nice. But that's what's going to hurt Fernand. And Fernand's going to look back at this and look at himself and he got an interim title, and I mean, he's a great coach. He's a fucking mad scientist, right? But he's going to have to really look at himself and be like, was it really worth it starting this feud? But yeah, I got to go with Francis by 3rd round TKO. I think Cyryl's movement's going to give him problems, but he's going to figure him out, and I think he's going to touch him. Again, man, he just needs to touch him once and it's over. It's a fucking over. But I got to go with my guy Francis here by 3rd round TKO. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to follow me on my Twitter and my Instagram. All the links will be down below in the description box. Love y'all and go bye. And tell me who y'all got. Y'all going bone got me or the Predator? Love y'all. See y'all. Can't wait for the fights, and I will be streaming.
Of a budding rivalry.
I do not have any problem with Gane, but he was with Fernand, which lately been trying some nasty stuff.
When people will realize who is Francis Ngannou, they will get shocked. This is not a good guy. We spent like 5 years together. When you become someone, help people. Being your coach means that I have to bring the truth. If I feel like you have a ego problem, I say you have an ego problem. If you don't like it, no problem. We cannot work anymore together.
We've already seen some footage of them guys duking it out in the sparring in the gym.
You know what's crazy here? Ciryl Gane just elbowed Francis in the face. They're in practice.
This video came out, but they also have some video that the Ciryl getting knocked down in the sparring.
They came up on the scene together. They were main sparring partners. They got a feel for each other.
I'm sure they get that video, but they didn't send out. They might think they know more than they really know. But I have grown a lot in the past 3 years.
3, 2.
He is finally becoming a full mixed martial artist. He has taken the time to really fill in the gaps. He has done so many things to try to improve who Francis Ngannou is as a mixed martial artist.
I am familiar with them. They are not familiar with me.
Francis Ngannou did improve. But if there's someone who can make him miss, that's Ciryl Gane.
If I'm Francis Ngannou and his team right now, I am game planning because we've never seen anything like this before. They knew that at some point, Ciryl would be in this position, challenging for a championship.
The footwork, the speed, precision, the cardio.
With his evasiveness, his striking ability, his movement.
Every fight, I bring this in the cage.
But the next time they fight, they're not going to be sparring. It's going to be a brawl.
1, go! There we go.
There's only one way to go for Francis Ngannou.
Keep pushing.
Is to rely on the power. If he don't, he will get humiliated.
On January 22nd in Anaheim, California, former training partners turned rivals and champions will go toe-to-toe for undisputed heavyweight supremacy.
There we go, Francis. Keep pushing. He's right there.
I know, and he knows.
Oh!
There's only one thing who can happen if I connect him.
Oh! Out cold. All the way to that last beat. Push, push.
Knock him out.
Francis Ngannou would appear to have a real challenge on his hands.
The FC 270.
He's a problem for them all.
Total domination on the road tonight.
I'm gonna win. You're gonna see my hands up.